All right. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders, where we talk to founders about their companies, their visions for the future, and how the two collide. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to Andrew Hutton, who's the founder of Day One. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
Matt, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be on.
Yeah, excited to have you on as well. Looking forward to learning more about what you're working on and your take on just like building for founders, as so many people, including myself, has been trying to do for several years. So
I know I'm excited to be here I think we are simpatico, two like minds trying to solve these problems. So excited to dive in all over the place.
yeah, 100%. So let's start high level for people that haven't heard of what you're doing. What is Day One? What are you working on?
Yeah. Day One is at its fundamentals an education platform, and we're an education platform that is focused entirely solely on entrepreneurship. Right, those are our two distinctive facets. And so, if we ask ourselves some questions: how do you educate an entrepreneur? How do you do it in our modern virtual world? And how do you serve an entrepreneur through every stage of their journey, from before getting started all the way through the messy middle to their eventual end game? So an education platform focused on entrepreneurs. Practically, tactically, what that means is we run cohort-based courses, programs, really more than a course, very much community-powered and community-driven cohort-based programs for entrepreneurs that teach fundamentals, get entrepreneurs embedded into communities of like-minded peers, like founders exploring Web3, founders exploring esports, different categories and sectors. And we're building an ecosystem, right? It's many faceted, many pieces, because the entrepreneurial journey isn't that simple, right? And so it's got to be a lot of things, and that's what we're navigating.
So I'll preface this question saying, like, obviously you're figuring this out as you build it, as we're all early stage founders. So like, I'll ask this question, but feel free to take it however you want. But let's say I'm a founder. I'm like at day one of my startup, right? I just want to get started. I hear about Day One and I sign up. What can you really help me understand, at least right now, what can a founder experience if they were to go through one of your programs? Or, what are the different things that you offer for a potential founder that goes through?
Yeah, absolutely. So when someone signs up for Day One, they run into two things. First and foremost, they run into the community. The fact that the community is evergreen, always on. People are asking questions. People are making matches, connecting with each other. And that's something that maybe right off the bat as a founder, you're like, it's like walking into a room full of people. Who knows how to navigate it? But it really is the gift that keeps on giving, the ongoing need that every entrepreneur has, is to, as you know, grow their network, build their connections. And so it's, on Day One has this foundational community layer to it. On top of that, we run entrepreneurial education programs, right? And we leverage the cohort-based course. And so we run these generally on a quarterly basis. And so you might be a week ahead, might be a day ahead. You might be joining 1 week into a program. It doesn't quite really matter, because you're going to pick up where you are in your journey and dive right into our cohort-based programming. And that might be on a topic. What we've done is we've created a catalog of these programs that fit for all the different stages. So if you're at the validation stage, that day one, day zero moment, you would join our idea validation track, right? If you were a little later on and you're like, I have an idea, I need to go build an MVP, you join our build track, right? You could be a little later on and join our growth track, right? And so we've created these programs actually. So inside of Day One, it's really not so different from joining a university, where freshman year you join and you meet some people in the quad. That's probably the first thing that happens. You meet your dorm mates, right? You meet the community first, and then you sign up for classes and you go to class, right? And then you go to the next class, and semester. So we've re-architected that for entrepreneurs. So that's a little bit of what it's like. It's all virtual. It's we're very thoughtful about that virtual learning, remote learning, both asynchronous and synchronous, how to build community online. All those are pieces that we take care of.
And then I'd love to hear a little bit about the origin story here. How did you decide that you wanted to build this? What are the early days like? Walk me through, the Day One of Day One.
Absolutely. It's so meta. So it's very meta. So we launched Day One in the summer of 2020, which was the height of the early pandemic. It was really just as people were getting, realizing this is a big deal. It's right when Mark Andreessen was writing It's Time to Build. And we basically answered the call to go build something for people who are also building something, right? And so it was very much the right time for this kind of business. And 2 years on, it's very much asking ourselves, how does this carry forward, right? What is going to stay with remote learning and virtual learning? What isn't? How is the world shifting now that we're on the other side of things and maybe in a recession? But personally, I was actually leaving venture capital. So I was at a venture studio, which was a different type of venture capital firm. We were building businesses. We were launching startups from a blank whiteboard with founders, with entrepreneurs. So I had that experience of working with founders, going through the journey of early stages, seeing the ups and the downs, the failures, the wins, what works, what doesn't work. I did that for 3 years. We launched a dozen businesses. We, I got to see, like I said, the good, bad, and the ugly. Fast forward into the beginning of 2020, and things were going nuts, right? And so, long story short, I was thinking about what was next and what was going to be right for me. I had this chip on my shoulder. I was always the second person. I was always helping entrepreneurs. It turns out that at day one, I still help entrepreneurs. I never escaped that. But like I said, it's very meta. I'm an entrepreneur myself, helping entrepreneurs and just leveraging all the things that I learned inside of venture capital, inside of a venture studio, and applying them at scale. That's the real difference, right? Venture capital has all these constraints, for right or for wrong. 1 out of 100 founders, probably less, is going to get inside of a VC firm, inside of an accelerator. And the 99% are milling about. Maybe they're going to happy hour. Maybe they're trying to network, right? And so what day one is it's everything, the support system, the education that entrepreneurs need, not just to break into VC, although plenty are going to and want to, but to just get their entrepreneurial journey started, which today is so much more diverse than it's ever been, right? And so, it's been a 2-year journey. What were those early days like? I mean, it was really fun because we launched a program and people were like, we need this, right? Like our first program had 200 applicants, and that felt like crazy. That, well, it almost in hindsight was like, yeah, that was the energy, right? People were here for it. But like any business, we were both kind of running the thing and then building the ship while we building the plane while we fly it, because we were iterating all the time, trying out all the different ways that you can do this entrepreneurship education thing, right? That was definitely new. And figuring out like, where do we take this, right? And so we did end up raising a pre-seed because we basically saw this opportunity. We were working with dozens of people at a time, and the answer was, there are not just hundreds and thousands of people, there's millions of entrepreneurs who need something different, right? And so that's the vision, that's the mission. We're going to go build for them.
I have to ask, as a huge, even still, but kind of like when I first got started, a huge Gary Vee fan, a Gary Vaynerchuk fan. You're involved with him in some way. Tell us, like, how would you get involved with his universe and what's going on there? That's like super exciting.
It's really exciting, and I think this might be a little revisionist history, but when I think about the kind of like who I would want to like champion day one as a influencer, a luminary, Gary Vee is really close to perfect, because he's not like typical venture capital. He's an entrepreneur with like kind of cut from the rough cloth, right? And he speaks to what feels like normal America, right? And it's yard sale flipping and cards and all the styles of entrepreneurship that like don't get a lot of press inside of the venture ecosystem, which I know you and I come from. So how did it happen? I got to know one of his investing partner, Phil Toronto, when I was at Human Ventures. So the network really does matter. Can't deny that. We were a year into building. We were about to go raise our pre-seed. Sent out an investor update. One of those investor updates that you send before you've got the checks in, right? Like those like to warm things up, and they were excited. They were already thinking about this idea of educating entrepreneurs. Gary told us he'd been crazily contemplating opening up like a school in like the woods in Wisconsin and bringing people there, and like, I want to do that too. That's a cool idea, let's do that together. But when he saw what we were doing, I think he was like, yeah, okay, that's they're already going, let's put our weight behind them. They're good people. My co-founder and I, we ended up hitting it off personally, but also just yeah, we were kind of filling the mission. And that's what you want in your investors, basically somebody who's like, I want to see this exist. Oh, you're doing it, let's go with you, right? And so not only was he an investor or is an investor, but we've partnered on multiple programs. We actually launched an incubator, which was, it's a whole other, it's fun to unpack, but a really cool opportunity for day one fellows to go join the VaynerX ecosystem. And now we're launching another program with him later this year. And yeah, he's kind of been our, like I said, like kind of the luminary, the sort of mascot's the wrong word, but like, yeah, he's our champion. It's really fun.
And, you said that you want investors that see where you're trying to go and want to help you get there. Where are you trying to go? Like if you were to look out, 5, 10, 15 years into the future, what does day one look like then? And what kind of part does it play in the world?
Yeah, I see day one, to use two companies that I think a lot of this audience will get, is somewhere between Techstars and General Assembly. And by that, I mean, General Assembly has educated tens and probably hundreds of thousands of people breaking into tech, right? And there are new programs doing that as well. And they've done thousands, hundreds and thousands. We are going to go be the General Assembly for entrepreneurship. And that means tens and hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs are going to come through. They're going to upskill. They're going to connect. Instead of paying 5 or 6 figures to an MBA, the fact that an MBA is kind of still the best way to get a head start in entrepreneurship is just mind-bogglingly stupid, right? But it actually is. If you have the money to spend and the time, an MBA is a very good kickstart for you, because you'll get this awesome community, you'll learn all these business things, but it really should not cost you $100,000 to get your entrepreneurial journey started. That is so inaccessible. It's so unreasonable. So when we cut the price point by 100x, right, and you get 100x more people through the system, right? So that's what we want to be. We want to be this name brands, all entrepreneurs get their start through us. And then the reason I say Techstars is because they work with all sorts of different companies, partners, and they kind of federate their model across the world. And I do think that's how we grow, right? And so we want to work with the VCs, the educators, literally the universities, the partners who already kind of work around and with entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs, and kind of bring this entirely new form of education. So that's what we're navigating now, how to fit into this ecosystem. But yeah, global name brands, hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs. That's the vision.
And in order to make that vision happen, you'll need some help, right? It takes a village to make a startup work, especially a startup that helps startups work. So my question for you is, how can the forward-thinking founders community help? Are you hiring? Are you raising money? Looking for more students, more founders? How can we help?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are always looking for more founders, right? It's a community-driven business, and someone listening probably, might be a fit. Check it out. What I usually say is, if it's not you, you definitely know somebody, because entrepreneurship is just in the water, right? Whether it's because of Shark Tank or watching Serena and Ashton Kutcher and all these people become investors, like, people know about entrepreneurship and they're thinking about it. And young people are never going to have a job that lasts more than 3 years, and then they're going to go be so entrepreneurship is everywhere. You know somebody, and the odds are that they don't know everything they need to know, right? And so all that together, day one is filling that gap. And yeah, we actually are raising money. We have a crowdfund live. That's actually something very much worth plugging, is that you can go to Republic and find day one and actually invest straight up. I should have just started with that. You can invest in day one today through our public equity crowdfunding campaign. And so go check that out. And a little bit of everything is happening. So yeah, come hang out.
And then if someone wants to learn more about this, sign up for themselves, tell their friend to sign up. For my last question, how can they find you? Do you have a website, social media, email address? Where can they find you?
Yeah, joinday1.com, www.joinday1.com. You'll find us. You'll see links to everything, all the programs. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can find the crowdfund through that link. We make that pretty easy to find. And I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. Definitely connect with me. I'd love to connect back. And yeah, we're this messy middle stage startup doing something I think really big and it takes a village, it takes a community. So we're growing with the people around us. So appreciate it, Matt.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Best of luck building this out.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.